Have you ever stopped to truly think about time? I mean, really think about it. Not just the ticking seconds or, the hours passing by, but how we actually perceive it, how we track it, and how it shapes our lives, maybe even our consciousness.
It's fundamental, isn't it? And yet so varied.
Exactly. It's fascinating how something so universal can be understood, structured in such wildly different ways. And what if some cultures, maybe even fictional ones, create systems that are far richer, more poetic, maybe?
Yeah.
More connected to the universe than
Yeah.
just our everyday clocks. Well, today we're embarking on an exploration into just such a system. It's the Arreqqana stardate system, which is beautifully known as Delaline Tayamara. That translates apparently to the flow of sacred time among stars.
Yeah, and our mission today really is to unpack this system. It's described as, sacred, poetic, cosmically resonant. The core idea isn't just a different way to count the days. It's about turning passive time into something active, an intentional engagement with cosmic energies.
And engagement, I like that.
It's like a blueprint for conscious living, really. Every moment has a kind of spiritual address and a purpose. So we'll delve into its intricate structure, understand how a familiar Earth date translates into this framework,
Right.
explore its daily applications, and maybe even discover how you might begin to align with its unique rhythms.
That initial description, sacred
Uh-huh.
and cosmic, that really grabs me.
Yeah.
How does that actually translate into the nuts and bolts of their star date? What are the core components that make it feel so different from, say, our calendar?
That's a great question because it really is built differently from the ground up. An Arreqqana stardate isn't just a number you see. It's more like a full phrase. Te era cycle #key.
Wow, okay.
It has 5 core parts, and each one layers on meaning. So first you have Te, that's the time era, a number from 1 to 9, representing a major galactic cycle. Think huge epochs, cosmic scale.
All right, like a vast chapter of time.
Exactly. Then there's era, that's the sub-era phase, shown by a letter A through Z.
Yep.
This points to a specific cultural or spiritual age within that larger Te era.
Okay, getting more specific.
After that comes Psyche, the cycle. It's a 3-digit number, 001 to 999. It's basically their spacefaring calendar loop, sort of like their year.
Their equivalent of a year. Got it.
But then you have Del Shag, which is the day of sacred flow. They call it Delali. So the specific day number.
Oh, wait.
And finally, Ki. This is the celestial tone of the day, often described as an energy or a color associated with the day's quality.
So if I'm getting this right, it's less like a serial number and more like a poetic address, a kind of spiritual GPS coordinate in time.
Perfect way to put it, a spiritual GPS.
How do these different layers, the era, the sub-era, the cycle, how do they actually interact to give that sense of cosmic position?
Well, it's a very intentional layering. Let's take the sample stardate they gave us. 3S148 Del 47 Aki Nakara.
Okay.
Now, that isn't just random. It translates very precisely to 3rd grade era, Sajara sub-era, cycle 148, day 47, under the sky flame tone Nakara.
Ah, okay. It paints a picture.
It really does. The Te and era give you that huge cosmic backdrop, the larger spiritual context. The Psyche and Del pinpoint the exact moment within that vastness.
Right.
And then the ketone. That infuses the moment with a specific energetic quality. It shows this really deliberate weaving of, let's say, astronomical tracking with deep spiritual meaning. It makes every moment feel less like just a tick on a clock and more like a resonant point in a much larger cosmic symphony.
That idea of an energetic quality, the ketone, that's fascinating. It sounds like these aren't just labels, but active influences on voice, ritual, even mood.
Yes, exactly. They're seen as active influences.
How does someone living in this system practically engage with these tones? Is it just a feeling, or are there tangible things they do?
That's where it gets really transformative in daily life. Instead of just listing all 7 ketones now, maybe let's look at a couple of strong examples to get a feel for how they function.
Good idea.
Okay, so there's Nakara, that's the sky flame. It's all about expressive energy, vibrancy, often visualized as peach gold.
Peach gold, expressive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then contrast that with Telki, that's the shadow seed, deep indigo. This one encourages deep reflection, turning inward, silent.
Indigo, reflective. Big difference.
Huge difference. Now, imagine how just knowing that is today, Nakara or Telki could reframe your entire approach to the day. Are you meant to speak out? or listen deeply. The really profound takeaway here isn't just that they have different labels, it's that every single moment in this system is believed to be imbued with an active, influencing energy.
That's a fundamental shift, isn't it?
It really is, from just tracking time to actively participating in its energetic flow. And yes, to your question, there are very tangible practices linked to them.
Okay, this is where it gets really intriguing for me and probably for you listening. Let's bring this home. What would today, let's say July 17th, 2025, what would that look like in the Arreqqana Stardate system?
All right, let's translate it. For today, July 17th, 2025, your Arreqqana star date is 3.V184 del 199 year. Talki?
3.V194 del 199 Yaki. Talki?
3.184 del 199 Erie. Talki. That's quite a phrase. Can you break down what each of those bits means for this specific day? Absolutely. Let's unpack it. The T3 tells us we're in the Third Great Era. Specifically, this is their post-Union interstellar age. So a significant period after some major galactic integration event.
Okay, time of connection, maybe?
Seems like it.
Well,
Then the era V represents the Velasha bloom phase, and this V's phase is associated with intuitive vision and sacred expansion, a time for growth, new perspectives.
intuitive vision. Interesting.
Cycle 184 marks the 184th yearly orbit since something they call the Cavarella alignment. This sounds like a foundational cosmic event, something that maybe reset their annual calendar or spiritual focus.
Right, like a year zero for this cycle count.
Precisely. Del hashtag 199 is straightforward. It's the 199th day of their cycle or year, and that lines up perfectly with July 17th being the 199th day in our Gregorian calendar.
Ah, so there's a direct correlation there.
Yes, for the day number, at least in this instance. And finally, Ki Telki, that's the tone for your day today, the shadow seed.
Shadow seed. Talki?
Yes. Suggesting a period suited for deep introspection, maybe transformation, embracing silence, a more inward-focused energy.
So this is your start date for today,
Yeah.
listening in. 3.V.184 del 199 Ki. Telki.
Yeah.
It's not just marking time, it feels like an invitation. But what does shadow seed actually feel like to live with day to day? And how do they make this blend of cosmic science and spiritual rhythm a daily reality, not just an abstract idea?
That's exactly where these harmony cycles come into play. It's not just about identifying the single tone of the day. The system is built on layered harmonies. Quitones and these Delali time points, they flow together. For instance, there's a weekly rotation, a 7-day chant cycle, basically.
No, like our week.
Kind of. Each quitone governs one day per week in a fixed sequence. So if day 1 is Nakara expression, day 2 would be Talki reflection, and so on through the 7 tones. The idea is that you can consciously align with that energy. Maybe you chant the tone, maybe you wear its color, maybe you just breathe differently. Knowing the focus for the day, it fosters this daily spiritual attunement.
So a daily pulse.
Yes. But then there's another layer, the seasonal rotation. This involves 48 specific Delali time points spread across 8 sacred seasons in their year.
48 points across 8 seasons. Okay, getting more complex.
It is. Each season covers a block of days and includes 6 of these Delali time points. And each season is also paired with a guiding key tone. For example, the Sajara Flame season, covering maybe the first block of days in a cycle, is paired with Nakara for rebirth, for that radiant start.
Makes sense.
Later in the cycle, you might have the Tulun Shadow season paired with Talki, encouraging rooting, reflection, going inward. This creates this continuous resonance throughout their year, not just day to day.
So you could have multiple key influences at once.
Exactly. You might have a Delali day that seasonally aligns with Zulai, that's the Dream Waters tone, intuition, but maybe the daily key tone for that specific day in the weekly cycle is Velasha, Spirit Bloom, Transcendence. And the combination of those might lead to something specific, like a focus on, say, fluid vision, blending intuition and transcendence. It's a very elegant way to layer meaning onto time.
Fascinating. It really makes me think about how much we might miss by just looking at a clock number. This system seems to ask us to feel time, doesn't it?
It absolutely does.
But these rituals you mentioned, the chanting, the attunement, they sound quite involved, beautifully intricate. How do the Arreqqana actually integrate this into what we might consider a busy daily life? Is this something everyone does, or is it more for, like, dedicated monks or priests?
That's a key point. It seems designed to be quite accessible, actually, woven into the daily fabric, much like we might check our phone for the time or the weather forecast. They have what's called the Dalalin Tayamara daily ritual practice. And it can be as simple or as involved as an individual chooses. It often starts with a morning invocation called Kera Tayamara, usually done around sunrise or just when you wake up.
Okay, what's the purpose?
The purpose is really to awaken your soul within the specific area you belong to consciously place yourself in that big picture. The ritual itself can be simple. Place your palm over your heart, whisper the phrase, Leketa te number, era letter, Natakime Navavarsha.
Which means?
It means, I awaken in era X, sub-era Y. I am present. I am a flame. And then you might briefly visualize your era's associated color or quality. Just a moment of grounding in the vastness.
I am present. I am a flame. Powerful start. What's next?
Next, around midday, there's midday grounding or Dalali flow centering. This is about reconnecting with the specific Dalali day number, the sacred flow of this day, and harmonizing your personal energy with it.
Okay, how do they do that?
It can be very simple. You might just write the day's Dalali number, Del, say 199 for today in sand, or trace it in the air, or even on your skin. Then you say aloud, Delalin Nazja, Likiyam, which means the sacred day moves within, I listen.
I listen. Nice.
And then here's the key part. You consciously do one slow, mindful action to honor the day's rhythm. It could be anything, taking a slow sip of water, breathing deeply for a moment, even just walking through a doorway with intention. It's about pausing and marking the flow. I can't help but contrast that with our usual lunch break rush. Our daily calendars feel so utilitarian compared to this. There's no sky flame or shadow seed reminder popping up on my Google Calendar.
Agrees lightly. Right. It's a different kind of utility, I suppose. One of spiritual alignment rather than just scheduling.
So how do they wrap up the day within this system?
Well, in the evening, around sunset or twilight, there's the evening resonance or key tone alignment. This ritual is specifically focused on aligning with the key tone of that day.
Connecting with today's tel key, for instance.
Exactly. You might light a small flame, a candle, a lamp. Then you softly chant or hum the tone name, like ki, tolki. And then you speak one short phrase that embodies that specific tone's energy. So for talki, it might be something like, my silence holds depth. Or for Nakara, maybe, my fire speaks and is sacred. For Valasha, I dream beyond the veil of sound. For Kaora, the silent fire, my silence is strength and mystery. Just a simple affirmation.
Anchoring the day's specific energy.
Precisely. And finally, before sleep, there's the night reflection. This one's called Kirasha Scroll Whisper. The purpose here is described as encoding the day's full star date into your soul thread.
Encoding it, like saving the day's data.
In a spiritual sense, yes. You whisper your full star date slowly, like a sacred mantra. Te 3, Aravi Cycle 184, Delu 199, Kia Talki. You could write it in a journal or trace it in the air again. Then close your eyes and say, Delin Sha de Quembros, which translates to, sacred time flows, I rest in light.
I rest in light. That's a beautiful way to end the day.
It is. And these daily practices, they reinforce that core idea. Time isn't just passing by you. It's this dynamic, living entity that you are actively co-creating with moment by moment.
And what's really remarkable, as you mentioned earlier, is that this isn't confined just to personal quiet practice. These time-tone fusions, these harmonies, they seem to ripple outwards. They're used in things like chant wheel practice, creating sigils, choosing altar colors, even developing specific elemental breath patterns.
Yes, it appears to be a truly holistic system. It embeds this cosmic resonance into potentially every facet of life, from the deeply personal to the communal and artistic. And just to elaborate on the seasonal aspect briefly, those 48 Dalali time points, the way the 7 Q tones are assigned is also structured. Each tone governs a block of 6 consecutive time points.
Yeah, okay.
So you get these 7 tonal zones across the year. Like Dalali 1 through 6 might always resonate with Nakara for that initial expressive energy. Maybe Dalali 31 through 36 are governed by Kora for quiet paradox and mystery. It adds another layer of predictable rhythm.
It's incredibly layered.
It is. And ultimately, the profound insight here, I think, is that time in the Arreqqana universe isn't just seen as this linear progression, tick-tock, 1 second after another. It's conceived as this living tapestry. It's layered with cosmic and spiritual rhythms, and it's all meticulously designed for attunement, for connection. It really transforms the passive experience of time into an active journey, a journey of self-discovery, maybe, and universal resonance.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What might you discover about your own inner landscape, your daily energy? Maybe your connection to the wider universe. What if you began to align your days, not just with the clock on the wall, but with these celestial tones and the sacred flow of your own unique star date, even just imaginatively? It's a concept that really invites a much deeper, more mindful way of living. Well, we hope this exploration has given you a glimpse into what is Really an extraordinary way of perceiving and living within time. We definitely invite you to continue your own deep dive into these fascinating concepts.